Hi, this video is about color addition. Now we're going to talk about what happens when different colors get added together. And to start, we're going to talk about colors of light because in order to see colors, you need light. So we're going to start with colored lights. To figure this out to start with, I'm going to have you do a prediction. If I have a flashlight and I put red plastic over it so it shines a red light, and I have another flashlight and put green plastic in front of it so it shines a green light, and then we take that red light and that green light and we overlap them, what color would we see when the red and green lights overlap? Make a prediction. What do you think? Got it? Figuring out? Okay, here's a picture of what we actually see. Isn't that weird? That is not what I learned in kindergarten. Not at all what I learned in kindergarten. Turns out light is different. It has special rules and it doesn't behave the same way that crayons and inks and paints do. So this video is about colors of light, how light colors add. And if you want to test the red and green equal yellow, you can probably do that on your cell phone. If you put a yellow image on your phone and then take a drop of water and put it onto your phone, if you get that pretty close and you kind of look back and forth on the edge of the drop, you should be able to see little rectangles of color, and that yellow image should have red and green rectangles right next to each other. When we overlap red and green, our eye sees it as yellow. Isn't that cool? So, color does not work like pigments. That's something very important to remember. What are the colors then? Okay, and now here, I don't have all colors, so I think I just have to ignore colors and do what I can. So red, I'm gonna try. Red plus green, it turned out to be yellow. What are the other primary colors of light? We're going to have red and green be primary colors of light. There's one more. And if you try looking at different colors of images on your screen with that little drop of water, you will be able to find one more color that is a single color. So if you look at something red, you should only see these tiny little red squares. If you look at something green, only green. If you look at yellow, it's red plus green. The other color that is our base, our primary, is blue. So if you take something blue, put it on your screen, look at through that water droplet, you should see blue. So red, green, and blue. Those are the primary colors of light. And that's what we start with when we're talking about colors of light. We can add them, and that's what this video is about, adding colors. So what combinations could we have? Well, we did red plus green. We could do red plus blue. So if we overlap a red light and a blue light, so what would we get if we have a blue light shining here, a red light shining here, and overlap them? Make a prediction. What do you think would have that, what would be that color? I can talk today. All right. Don't know what you predicted, but what it turns out is it's a pinky purple color that we give a very special name, and that is called magenta. So red plus blue gives us this pinky purple color, which is actually pretty close to this, called magenta. What else? We did red, green, red, blue. We need green and blue. So adding green and blue together. So we have a green circle of light, we have a blue circle of light, overlap them. What are we going to see? Make a prediction. Okay. What did you predict? Are you sure? Confident? All right. Well, what do we actually see? We get a greeny blue color. Woohoo! With a special name. That greeny blue color is called cyan. And so we start with three primary colors of light: red, green, and blue. And then we end up with our secondary colors. So our secondary colors of light are magenta, cyan, and yellow. All right, so we can have colors of light. Now, how do we get white light? What is white light? Well, if we think about primary colors, Red and green made yellow. And then okay, so we've got all these colors. How do we end up getting white light? Turns out that if we add all three primary colors together, you will end up with white. You add red plus green plus blue, you will see white light. And again, you can probably see this on your phone. If you look at something that's white, add a little water droplet, and you should see three little colored circles, and they probably smear out a little bit, but you should see red and green and blue, and they should give you white. So our basics for color addition, we've got to realize we have primary colors of light, red, green, blue. We have our secondary colors, magenta, cyan, and yellow. And then red plus green plus blue, if we add up all our primaries, we end up with white. All right, so we've got primaries and secondaries and our basic additions. What happens if we were to add a primary and a secondary? What do you think would happen? Let's give it a try. So I'm going to say, let's do red plus cyan. What would red plus cyan be? All right, my primary, this is just red. Cyan is a secondary color, and cyan is made up of green and blue. So red and green and blue. Well, what do you get with red plus green plus blue? You get white. So if we add up red plus cyan, you end up with white. And we have a special name for this pair. Any pair of colors that add up to white are called complementary colors, just like your pigments and paints and colors and crayons. We had complementary colors then too. Here, a complementary pair is a pair of colors that adds up to white. So for instance, red and cyan. Now, if you're getting the hang of this, what would be the two other complementary pairs that we could use to get white light? What are the two other complementary pairs? Give it a try, hit pause, see if you can do it. All right, we have red and cyan. Those would add up to white. Blue plus what? Well, if I have blue, what am I missing? I need the red and the green to add up to white. Well, what's red and green? It'd be yellow. So blue plus yellow, overlapping those colors would get me white light. And the third one, let's see, red and cyan, blue and yellow, must be green. Green plus what would get me white? Well, if I have green already, I need red and blue. So I need my red and blue. What's red and blue? Magenta. So green plus magenta would also equal white light. So our three complementary pairs, red and cyan, blue and yellow, green and magenta, those add up to white because with those we have all three colors of white light merged together, we get our white light. So that's just the basics of what white light is and how the colors within that white light add together. If you want a useful mnemonic, I don't know what to call it, something useful to help you remember what how things add together. What I write down when I'm thinking about this stuff, okay, I'm just going to write it here. Let's see. What I write down is RYG GCB BRM. So this is my little guide. If I can get this done, I'm in pretty good shape. Now what does this mean? Well, red plus green equals yellow. Green plus blue equals cyan. Blue plus red equals magenta. And so it's just an easy way. If you can write that down, it'll tell you how to add things together. Now, what happens if we add secondary colors of light? What happens if I add two of these together? Let's start with, I don't know, just the first two. What happens if we add magenta and cyan together? Oops, I made a mess there. Let's clean that up a little. There we go. Okay, so what happens if we add magenta plus cyan? To figure that out, I need to figure out what colors I have inside. Well, magenta is a red and a blue, And then I'm going to add cyan, and cyan is green and blue. So this is what I have when I add magenta plus cyan. Well, I say red and blue and green. These three together make white. So that's white, but I also have a little bit of blue added, an extra blue in this mix. It wouldn't be pure white because there's extra blue, and it wouldn't be blue because I've added white light to what we think of as our blue. And so what I tend to call this is light blue. So magenta plus cyan, what I would say is that gives me a light blue. You can do the same thing. Try cyan and yellow. So try that. Hit pause. Cyan plus yellow. Well, okay, so cyan has blue-green, and yellow is red-green. All right, there's my white. Whoa. White plus green. Okay, that's going to give me light green. So cyan plus yellow equals light green. And then the third one, again, make a prediction, magenta plus yellow. Magenta plus yellow. Red, blue, green, red. I've got an extra red. Equals light red. And if you look here again, if I had yellow and cyan together, where's that one? Yellow and cyan, it ended up being light green. Well, green's the one that's in common. Green is the one they have in common. They both have a green, so that's my extra. And cyan and magenta have blue in common, so that should be light blue. And then I can't, well, I guess I can do yellow and magenta have the R in between, and so that should be light red. So there's the basics of light. Adding primaries to secondaries, and then adding secondary colors. There you go. Good job for watching.